Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 151 based on novel. So let's start. Inside the black flying boat. Luo Feng erased the karmic imprint on the surface of the flying boat with a single thought. Di Qing sensed it and was somewhat puzzled. Brother Luo Feng, why did you suddenly erase the imprint? I kept the imprint earlier to track the pursuer through karma, Luo Feng said with a smile. My clone has just discovered the pursuer and eliminated them. Who was tracking us? Di Qing asked. The Wu Wei God Emperor of the Guile Workshop, Luo Feng shook his head. The moment I discovered him, I crushed him. He probably didn't realize my identity. Unfortunately, he's a cultivator from the origin world, so I only destroyed one of his clones. Luo Feng estimated the spoils he obtained to be worth around 12 million chaotic origin crystals, far less than what he got from the Kumo God Emperor. There was no helping it, Kumo God Emperor had no clones and carried all his treasures with him, making him naturally wealthier. The Wu Wei God Emperor is notoriously troublesome. Di Qing couldn't help but exclaim. You killed him instantly? With one move, Luo Feng smiled. He probably thought he was ambushed by a low-level chaotic origin life form. Di Qing's heart trembled. Killed in one move? The Wu Wei God Emperor was a middle-stage God Emperor Dao cultivator with a deeper cultivation than Di Qing himself, yet he was killed with just a single finger. At this moment, Di Qing became even more aware of the gap between his strength and Luo Feng's. Eliminating him in one move allows me to keep my information hidden as much as possible, Luo Feng said solemnly. The more I can conceal before facing Elder Chinha, the better. After all, Elder Chinha had been at that level for a long time. Although Luo Feng had the confidence to face him, he dared not underestimate him. We know quite a lot about Elder Chinha, but he knows very little about you, Di Qing nodded. In terms of intelligence, Brother Luo Feng, you hold the advantage. Luo Feng nodded slightly. After chatting for a moment, a blood-colored phantom finally returned to the flying boat and merged back into Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng had just sent out half of his energy reserves to ambush and kill the pursuer. We can accelerate now, Luo Feng urged. Without a pursuer, we can focus on hunting first. As for Elder Chinha, we'll deal with him slowly once we return. All right, Di Qing responded, and the black flying boat speed surged instantly. Yulon City. A pure white bird hovered in midair. This was a flying treasure crafted from the entire corpse of a low-level chaotic origin life form, Elder Chinha's favorite flying treasure, the soul feather white sparrow. Inside the soul feather white sparrow, the space was vast. The Wu Wei God Emperor flew inside. Within the flying bird, Elder Chinha sat there, draped in white robes, his gaze calm as he looked at the Wu Wei God Emperor. Wu Wei, what exactly happened? Deputy Leader, the Wu Wei God Emperor bowed. I was tracking Luo Feng and Di Qing earlier. I had just left the city not long ago, and logically, the surrounding area should have been relatively safe. The Wu Wei God Emperor was also confused. But I was suddenly ambushed by a low-level chaotic origin life form. I couldn't even withstand a single move. The Wu Wei God Emperor found it hard to believe. It felt like it was a low-level chaotic origin life form at the perfect God Emperor. Perfect God Emperor? Elder Chinha frowned in doubt. Low-level chaotic origin life forms of that level should be absolute high-ranking members of their respective races. Why would one be so close to Yulon City? The Wu Wei God Emperor said, I consider myself capable of escaping from a late-stage God Emperor low-level chaotic origin life form. Even in direct combat, I could exchange a few moves. But this time, I couldn't resist even once. I truly believe it was a perfect God Emperor low-level chaotic origin life form. Show me the entire battle, Elder Chinha frowned. Yes. The Wu Wei God Emperor waved his hand, projecting the entire battle from his memory into midair. In the recorded memory, he was flying his boat when suddenly, an enormous, furry claw reached out from the depths of the sky, covering the entire heavens. This massive claw, Elder Chinha observed it carefully. The gigantic, Furry claw had smooth fur, 5 sharp talons that were black and yellow, and a mottled surface exuding an eerie aura. The moment the claw descended, it had already sliced through space, creating a spatial cage that trapped the Wu Wei God Emperor's flying boat. Then, the claw clenched tight. All of the Wu Wei God Emperor's life-saving methods were rendered useless. He was utterly annihilated. Low-level chaotic origin lifeforms may be powerful, but their techniques are usually crude, the Wu Wei God Emperor remarked. But this furry claw, it trapped me in a single move. Its technique was far too refined, I couldn't even resist. Only perfect God Emperor low-level chaotic origin lifeforms can unleash such terrifying innate power. Elder Chinha observed and nodded. A perfect God Emperor low-level chaotic origin lifeform had an incredibly powerful body, and even their most casual attacks were exceedingly precise. Crushing the Wu Wei God Emperor with a single claw was naturally within their ability. It does indeed look like the work of a perfect God Emperor low-level chaotic origin lifeform, Elder Chinha said, frowning. But, it's too much of a coincidence. You were tracking Luo Feng and Di Qing, and you were ambushed right after leaving the city. That's too convenient. Moreover, the attack happened too close to Yulon City. For a perfect God Emperor low-level chaotic origin lifeform to take such a risk and come this close, just to crush a middle-stage God Emperor Dao cultivator like you. The Wu Wei God Emperor listened and found it reasonable. A perfect God Emperor low-level chaotic origin lifeform wouldn't risk getting this close to Yulon City unless they had a grand scheme. Would they really do it just to kill one of his clones? I think there's another possibility. Elder Chinha narrowed his eyes. The Wu Wei God Emperor looked at Elder Chinha. It could have been an elder who made the move, Elder Chinha said. An elder? The Wu Wei God Emperor was shocked. Luo Feng and Di Qing came from the origin world, and they have some background. Luo Feng refused to give me face, and now he's brazenly left the city. Elder Chinha smiled slightly. I already suspected he had something to rely on. They have an elder backing them? The Wu Wei God Emperor was astonished. Interesting. Elder Chinha's eyes flashed with a golden gleam. He would rather pay the price of asking an elder for help than bow his head and hand over 50 million chaotic origin crystals? It seems Luo Feng is quite proud. Deputy Leader, if this elder knows your identity yet still dares to interfere, he might not have good intentions. The Wu Wei God Emperor said worriedly. Elder Chinha spoke softly, I want to see which elder dares to interfere in my affairs. So what if it was an elder? He had never been afraid. In the darkness sacred realm, being a late-stage God Emperor Dao cultivator was merely the lowest threshold. Elder Chinha had experienced countless battles and killings. Coming from the origin world, he had never feared combat. He had extensive experience in elder-level battles. Even if an elder dares to interfere, I will tear apart one of their clones. Elder Chinha's gaze turned cold. Chiu Yite, Elder Chinha suddenly called out. Deputy Leader, a golden-armored figure beside him responded respectfully. Deploy 4 raiding squads to set up a ghost shadow ground formation outside the 4 city gates of Yulon City. The moment Luo Feng and Di Qing return, seal them off and trap them. Elder Chinha ordered. Yes, the golden-armored figure immediately responded but hesitated. Deputy Leader, to ensure we intercept them, the formation must be placed near the city gates. But if they escape into the city, pursuing them will be difficult. Inside the city gates, they would be bound by Yulon City's rules. Don't worry. Elder Chinha said indifferently, if they truly have an elder backing them, such an existence would never deign to flee into the city. They will fight me head-on. At the elder level, they are all extremely proud by nature. Retreat without a fight? Too shameful. Yes. The golden-armored figure responded. I will stand guard at the East City Gate. If they were confident in leaving through a certain gate, they should return through the same one. Elder Chinha immediately settled in a cave residence near the East City Gate, patiently waiting. Which elder dares to disrespect me? I'm really looking forward to this. Elder Chinha, however, was quite excited. Killing Amir Jr. was nothing, but fiercely battling another elder, tearing them completely to shreds, that was truly satisfying. Luo Feng, on the other hand, temporarily put this matter aside. He needed a good hunting session. After all, he was currently rather poor and had to hunt enough prey to exchange for the resources required for his cultivation. It's right in the depths of the lake. Luo Feng, inside the black flying boat, used his bionic eye of destruction at the center of his forehead to gaze into the far distance, locking onto a lake. He had already detected a low-level chaotic origin life form that had merged with the lake. Its concealment techniques were quite advanced, but unfortunately, they could not escape his eyes. Whoosh! A blood-red shadow shot out from Luo Feng's body, instantly blending into the world. Shortly after, a vast blood-red shadow enveloped the entire lake. The mere act of covering it was like casting a massive net, completely imprisoning that low-level chaotic origin life form. What's happening? A creature with 8 arms, its skin dark and emanating a faint, cold flame. Its triangular head looked ferocious and violent. Ensnared by the blood-red shadow, it struggled desperately to escape. However, under the shadow's infiltration, in just the blink of an eye, it fell silent. Its corpse remained intact, but the life core inside had already developed cracks. The 8-armed Mingluo clan, but this is merely the weakest level of their kind, only at the early stage God Emperor. Luo Feng shook his head lightly. This level of prey was too weak. Luo Feng didn't even need to use any treasures. With just his indestructible blood sea body, simply spreading the blood sea slightly to cover the vast region was enough to imprison and eliminate the enemy. His indestructible blood sea body was, after all, created by referencing the blood-colored scales of the Star Tower, carefully refined by Luo Feng using his own comprehension to form his strongest secret technique that had taken him the longest to develop. This body alone was already comparable to a late-stage God Emperor low-level chaotic origin life form. Coupled with Luo Feng's level of comprehension and some secret treasures, its power was naturally terrifying. We've been out hunting for 5 days now and have taken down 3 early-stage God Emperor low-level chaotic origin life forms. Luo Feng frowned. Brother Diqing, we need to find stronger prey. These 3 combined were worth only about 3 million chaotic origin crystals, too little value. Brother Luo Feng, this is how we usually hunt, Diqing said. Our targets are mainly early-stage God Emperor low-level chaotic origin life forms, and only occasionally do we encounter stronger ones. What I mean is, should we go deeper? Luo Feng asked. According to the intelligence I purchased, our current hunting area is meant for middle-stage God Emperor hunting teams. The hunting areas had been defined by generations of cultivators from Yulon City, established through life and death experiences. The stronger one was, the deeper they could venture for the hunt. This is the Elders' hunting zone. Luo Feng waved his hand, revealing a map before them. It recorded the regions where Elders, at their level, would occasionally go hunting. We can go a little deeper and test it out. The Elders of Yulon City typically hunted alone. At their level, they rarely left the city, so it was naturally difficult to form a hunting team. Moreover, since they had clone techniques, whenever they did go out, they usually hunted alone. Compared to the terrors of the Darkness Sacred World, the 9 Rivers Sacred World was indeed much less dangerous. Elders' hunting zone? Diqing felt a little nervous. I've never tried it before, no experience. Hunting experience is something you accumulate over time, Luo Feng said with a slight smile. All right. Brother Luo Feng, if you're not afraid, why should I be? Diqing's heart burned with excitement. Venturing into the Elders' hunting zone for a challenge, it would be a rare experience. Whoosh! The black flying boat advanced rapidly, piercing through the heavy clouds and moving farther away from Yulon City. According to the map, we have preliminarily entered the Elder hunting zone. Diqing tensed up, fully focusing on scouting the vast surrounding void. In this area, my strength is too weak, I'll have to rely on you, Brother Luo Feng. Don't worry. Luo Feng opened the bionic eye of destruction on his forehead, and within his body, the Xianqing Heaven Annihilation Formation diagram also began operating. Centered on the flying boat, a barely perceptible formation field silently spread out, like an invisible net, enveloping them and constantly guarding against potential ambushes. You must already be familiar with the rules of the hunt, Brother Luo Feng. Di Ching lowered his voice, his expression solemn. Let me remind you once more, this is our first time stepping into the elder hunting zone, so we must maintain the highest level of vigilance. Regarding hunting experience and rules, Yulon City had intelligence for sale, so Luo Feng was naturally well informed. However, to truly internalize others' experiences, one had to undergo countless real combat trials. Shashasha tilde. Just as Luo Feng and Di Ching were carefully maneuvering the black flying boat forward, a phantom-like creature shaped like a centipede was silently gliding through the void. This mysterious creature concealed itself with extreme thoroughness. Even Luo Feng, possessing the bionic eye of destruction, did not detect its presence. It was the fearsome, blood demon Erlis. The blood demon Erlis race was considered a massive group among low-level chaotic origin life forms, notorious for their talent in stealth and their highly poisonous nature, making cultivators dread them. Shosho tilde. This blood demon Erlis locked its eyes on the distant black flying boat, keenly sensing the formation field surrounding it. Two cultivators actually dare to venture this deep? But judging by their appearance, they don't seem to be elders from Yulon City. As a late-stage god emperor blood demon Erlis, it held a certain status within its race and possessed some intelligence on Yulon City's elders. However, its information was somewhat outdated. That said, Yulon City's elders rarely changed over the course of endless years. I'll test them first. The blood demon Erlis observed for a moment before making its decision. It knew that delaying too long might lead other kin to discover these two cultivators, and by then, this fat prey might end up in someone else's hands. Cultivators were fond of hunting low-level chaotic origin life forms, but the reverse was also true. These creatures craved cultivators just as much. By hunting enough cultivators, they could evolve their bloodlines, enhance their strength, and even jump out of the cage to regain complete freedom. This prey is mine. The blood demon Erlis suddenly lunged forward. At this moment, Luo Feng and Di Ching, piloting the black flying boat, were maintaining the highest level of alertness. Luo Feng, in particular, was constantly sustaining the operation of the Xianqing Heaven Annihilation Formation diagram within his body, ensuring the formation field remained active. However, they still failed to notice the approaching blood demon Erlis. Rip! A terrifying force, like a lightning bolt, suddenly tore through the Xianqing Heaven Formation field. Luo Feng's face instantly turned deathly pale. Not good. At the moment the powerful enemy broke through the formation, Luo Feng finally perceived a grotesquely twisted, multi-limbed creature resembling a centipede. Just sensing its existence made Luo Feng feel intense nausea, his consciousness spinning, as if the entire world was turning upside down. It's a blood demon Erlis. Luo Feng immediately recognized its identity. At the same time, his indestructible blood seed body erupted at full force. Boom! An endless blood sea surged like a raging tide, crashing out in all directions, just in time to collide with the onrushing blood demon Erlis. The endless blood sea, centered around the Xianqing Heaven Annihilation Formation diagram, operated with overwhelming power, forcefully blocking the blood demon Erlis's deadly strike. I'll put you away first. Luo Feng unleashed his indestructible blood seed body largely to protect Di Ching. At this moment, Di Ching was already on the verge of collapse. The poison of the blood demon Erlis was extremely terrifying. Simply looking at it could cause poisoning, and direct contact would amplify the toxicity by hundreds or even thousands of times. Whoosh! While transmitting a voice message, Luo Feng waved his hand, directly storing Di Ching away. The poison of this blood demon Erlis was too frightening. Even a late-stage god emperor Dao cultivator could die instantly if their physical body wasn't strong enough. Naturally, Di Ching could not risk touching it. After securing Di Ching, Luo Feng was finally able to engage the blood demon Erlis in an all-out battle without any reservations. This poison. Although Luo Feng blocked the blood demon Erlis with his endless blood sea, he inevitably came into contact with it. The creature's horrifying poison instantly spread into the blood sea, infiltrating and expanding like a wildfire. Die? The blood demon Erlis had absolute confidence in its poison. Though categorized as a low-level chaotic origin life form, its species was a special beings born jump out of their cage. Their poison alone was enough to repel or even kill late-stage God Emperor Dao cultivators. Boom! Luo Feng's indestructible blood seed body was immense beyond measure. Without hesitation, he struck back with a massive claw. A gigantic, furry paw shot out, blotting out the sky. Its reach covered an enormous area, leaving the blood demon Erlis with no escape. The claw viciously tore through it. The moment it was struck and torn apart, the blood demon Erlis instantly split into countless pieces, transforming into billions of tiny centipedes that rapidly merged into the blood sea. He shattered my true form in one strike. The blood demon Erlis was terrified. How is this guy so powerful? The claw's overwhelming force was impossible to resist. It had no choice but to completely split apart in self-preservation. The world seemed to tilt amidst their intense battle, and the blood sea surged violently. Xianqing Heaven. Luo Feng's Xianqing Heaven annihilation formation diagram inside his body roared to life. The boundless blood sea, like an enormous net, swiftly enveloped all the billions of super-small centipedes in the area, pulling them into the blood sea eye. Inside the blood sea eye, the formation diagram spun frantically, forming a spatial cage that swiftly took shape, imprisoning the countless super-small blood demon Erlis. They struggled and resisted furiously, causing violent tremors that threatened to shatter the spatial cage at any moment. Indestructible heart, suppress! At the critical moment, a cyan-colored treasure orb suddenly appeared. Under its guidance, countless veins extended from it, integrating into Luo Feng's body and the endless blood sea. With this added reinforcement, the power of the blood sea surged exponentially, its resilience increasing dozens of times over, even gaining a faint trace of immortality. The blood sea eye, as the core of the indestructible blood sea body, fused into the cyan treasure orb. With the powerful enhancement of the indestructible heart, the stability of the blood sea eye skyrocketed. The space prison's integrity increased drastically, finally suppressing the billions of super-small blood demon Erlis. His tilde. Within the blood sea eye, surging blood waves condensed into a massive furry paw, which struck down with crushing force upon the trapped blood demon Erlis. 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes. With each strike, countless blood demon Erlis were obliterated. No, no. How is this possible? He isn't even listed among Yulon City's elders, how can he be this strong? The billions of super-small blood demon Erlis fell into despair as they were continuously annihilated. They struggled desperately but could neither escape nor resist the devastating strikes of Luo Feng's indestructible blood sea body. In just 6 strikes, Luo Feng successfully tore apart. Among them, the life core of the blood demon Erlis. Once the life core shattered, all the blood demon Erlis instantly fused into one, revealing its true form. At the moment of death, the blood demon Erlis still couldn't believe it, its path of growth had been abruptly cut off at this very moment. Finally killed it. Looking at the massive corpse of the blood demon Erlis, Luo Feng let out a long sigh of relief. I had to use 2 great treasures to slay it. He was well aware that relying solely on the palm world would never have been enough to trap the blood demon Erlis. Only by using the indestructible heart-empowered, indestructible blood sea body could he fully suppress this troublesome opponent and then, claw by claw, severely wound it until it was finally slain. I can now count this as having killed a late-stage God Emperor level chaotic origin life form. Luo Feng was filled with emotion. Even among the ranks of elders, very few could kill a late-stage God Emperor level chaotic origin life form in a one-on-one battle. He also understood that his success was largely due to the power of his treasures. Without the indestructible heart and the palm world, his strength would plummet dramatically, making it impossible for him to be a match for the blood demon Erlis. It's already dead, why is the poison still spreading? Luo Feng frowned deeply, his face full of confusion. Within the endless blood sea, even with the reinforcement of the indestructible heart, which greatly slowed the spread of the poison, it only managed to delay it. The poisoned area continued to expand without stopping, showing no signs of weakening. This poison cannot be eradicated. Luo Feng made a decisive decision. With a single thought, he severed all energy that had come into contact with the blood demon Erlis. He understood that anything tainted by the poison had to be abandoned, no matter how painful it was. Approximately 1/20th of the vast endless blood sea was cut off by Luo Feng just like that. The relentless poison devoured it, and Luo Feng watched helplessly as the severed 1/20th of the blood sea was completely corroded in no time, leaving only a massive, distorted mass of deadly poison. This poison was entirely dark black, forming a sphere approximately 3,000 kilometers in diameter. It constantly twisted and churned, filled with countless thread-like substances. Suddenly, the sphere formed by these countless twisted threads rapidly collapsed and shrank, eventually condensing into a fist-sized, black liquid. I have absolutely no way to deal with this. Luo Feng looked at the black liquid, his heart filled with apprehension. He dared not touch the poison again so easily. This was the bizarre nature of low-level chaotic origin life forms. Born jump out of the cage, they often possessed abilities beyond imagination. Some of these life forms hid so deeply that cultivators could hardly detect them, while others could even break through the layers of defense in Yulon City and infiltrate directly. Every era, there were cultivators in the city who fell victim to attacks from these infiltrating low-level chaotic origin life forms. Fortunately, Luo Feng resided in the inner city and had not been there for long, so he had yet to encounter such a terrifying event. The poison of Erlis could fetch a good price. I should store it away first. Luo Feng immediately took out a storage treasure and carefully sealed away the fist-sized black liquid. Storing the poison of Erlis required extreme caution. It must never touch any living being. Once contact was made, the poison would instantly infiltrate and corrode. As long as one remained within conventional limits, their energy would be incapable of eradicating this poison. I need to leave quickly, no time to linger. Luo Feng instantly transformed into a blood-colored shadow, silently blending into the world as he rapidly departed. The first rule of hunting: after killing a low-level chaotic origin life form, one must immediately leave the battlefield. After traveling for some time, Luo Feng finally released his black flying boat and also freed Di Qing. Though Di Qing was still somewhat unwell, he had regained full consciousness. We escaped? Di Qing glanced around, then quickly reminded him, the blood demon Erlis has strong tracking abilities. Its ambush failed this time, so it might secretly pursue us or even call for reinforcements. Don't worry. It's already dead. Luo Feng replied calmly. Di Qing was stunned for a moment, his face filled with astonishment. The blood demon Erlis was indeed extremely troublesome. I had to give it my all just to barely kill it, Luo Feng continued. Now that we have left the battlefield, we should be safe for the time being. Let's continue our hunt. This video will end here.